On the evening of November 15th, 2007, two young girls went to their grandmother's house to spend the night. She lived just across the road, so this was a regular occurrence for the girls. However, when their parents called the next morning, there was no answer. When they went over to check on them, they found the front door unlocked, the girls and their grandmother missing, and blood all over the house. Although the parents initially held out hope that the girls had simply been kidnapped, the media soon turned on them and accused the father of being the culprit. It would swiftly be proven that he didn't do it, but the damage had already been done. What really happened that night? And was anyone actually held accountable for the wild speculations that almost ruined an innocent man's life? According to their parents, 5-year-old Akane and 3-year-old Ayane went across the road to spend the night with 58-year-old Miura Keiko, their grandmother on their mother's side. Their mother, 34-year-old Yamashita Sachiko, called the house around 10 p.m. that same night to check that everything was okay and say goodnight to the girls. They went to bed shortly thereafter, and around 11 p.m, the girls' father, Kiyoshi, 43, noted that all the lights in the house across the road were off. Around 2 a.m. that same night, Kiyoshi got up to go to the toilet and noted that he saw Keiko's bike parked out the front of her house. This was something he always saw, so that wasn't particularly unusual. He then went back to bed. But the next morning, around 7:20 a.m, Kiyoshi then heard the sound of Keiko's front door opening and closing. He went outside and noticed that now Keiko's bike was gone. Sachiko called her mother's house, but nobody answered. She tried calling again, but still nobody picked up. Confused, she then went over to the house around 7:50 and found the front door unlocked. She found this strange because her mother never left the door unlocked overnight, and when she went inside, she found no trace of her mother or daughters. But when she went to the bedroom, she found what appeared to be bloodstains on the floor, and a section of carpet had been removed. Thinking that perhaps somebody had injured themselves, she rang numerous nearby hospitals to see if her mother had gone there, but neither she nor Sachiko's daughters had been admitted anywhere. As Sachiko and Kiyoshi searched the house, they found bloodstains in the entrance and bathroom as well, and the blood in the bedroom had soaked all the way into the tatami below the carpet. Keiko's keys were also still inside the house. Kiyoshi searched the nearby area for any clues and found Keiko's bike lock on a bank to the south of her house. This area was narrow and steep, not a location that Keiko would typically navigate at her age, and certainly not with 2 children. So Kiyoshi decided to call the police. By this time it was 9 a.m, just over an hour and a half after he heard Keiko's front door open and close. All 3 were then reported missing. Despite the bloodstains in the house, police initially treated the case as a missing persons case. There were still hopes that they could find all 3 alive. They interviewed neighbours and locals for any clues and discovered that a neighbour heard a loud noise around 4 a.m. that woke them up. Another neighbour passed the house between 4 and 5 and Keiko's bicycle was still there. Sometime after 5, neighbours heard a car, and around 6 a.m, a delivery man noted seeing a white car parked in front of Keiko's house that he had never seen before. Other neighbours also heard a man screaming, "Hurry up!" although an exact time couldn't be placed for this. Of course, with 2 missing girls and a missing grandmother, this news was quickly picked up by the mass media. Kiyoshi in particular appeared often in interviews, begging for any information that might lead to the discovery of his missing daughters. However, with no suspect, the media soon turned on Kiyoshi himself. After all, he was scary looking. He was always angry and rough in his interviews, sometimes yelling and getting upset. And he wasn't even their biological father. He was just the girl's stepfather. With no real suspect or leads, well, it had to be him, right? On the November 19th episode of Minomonta no Asazuba, only a few days after the girls had gone missing, he outright accused Kiyoshi of being suspicious. "Wouldn't you normally call the police right away?" he stated, noting how over an hour passed from when they discovered the girls were missing until they finally called the police. It's strange, don't you think? Actress Hoshino Natsuko also posted on her blog the same day that the case had been a hot topic amongst her family, and they were all certain that it was the father who did it. She was suspended by her agency for the inappropriate comments just a few days later, but the damage had been done, and she was hardly alone. It seemed the media had decided that Kiyoshi had to be guilty, even without proof, simply because he looked the type. In fact, the accusations got so bad that the Kagawa Prefectural Police Press Club had to hold a press conference to urge the media to confirm facts and report moderately. Nearly 2 weeks passed with no word on what had happened to their girls or Sachiko's mother. The entire time, Kiyoshi also had to suffer the media calling him the culprit with no evidence. But on November 27th, he was vindicated when the police made a surprise arrest. 61-year-old Kawasaki Masanori, Keiko's brother-in-law, was undergoing voluntary questioning when he confessed that he did it. He killed all 3 of them. Kawasaki claimed that he walked in through the unlocked front door around 3:45 a.m. and attacked Keiko as she slept. By his own admission, he was angry at Keiko for making her sister, his wife, take on the burden of her debts while she herself was ill and in the hospital. And in fact, she passed away before Kawasaki attacked Keiko. This anger he felt towards his sister-in-law became so all-consuming that he decided he would kill her. However, when he attacked her, this woke up the girls, and fearing that he would be discovered, he attacked them as well. Ripping up some of the carpet in the bedroom, he then put all 3 into a minivan and drove to an area near Sakaide Harbor, where he then buried them. Giving police the location, they did indeed find the bodies and the carpet where he specified, alongside the weapon in a nearby cemetery. They also later found Keiko's mobile phone and discarded bicycle nearby. On November 30th, Kawasaki was officially arrested on suspicion of murder. Shortly after Kawasaki's arrest, Kiyoshi appeared on TV and revealed that Kawasaki often hit on Keiko in front of everyone, even in front of his dying wife in the hospital, telling her that her parents would be pleased if she was with him as well. He was so persistent that Keiko often complained about his unwelcome advances, and although Kiyoshi offered to speak to him about it, Keiko reportedly told him that would make matters worse, and she'd deal with it herself. Kiyoshi also claimed that Kawasaki took all of the get-well money his wife received while she was in the hospital, and when she first got sick, he continued to bark orders at her to clean the house and make him food. The family seemed to believe that Kawasaki was actually after his wife's inheritance, but with his wife dead and both her parents and Keiko still alive, he would have no access to that money. Thus, another potential reason for the attack was proposed. Either way, Kawasaki's trial began on July 17, 2008, but because he admitted to all charges, the trial wasn't to determine his guilt, but rather his criminal responsibility. His lawyer argued that he had a pervasive developmental disorder, and that Although he knew that what he did was wrong, he was unable to stop himself. He had the mental age of a 15-year-old, and therefore he should receive a reduced sentence based on that fact. Ultimately, testing proved that while he had a mild intellectual disability, he still knew exactly what he was doing and how wrong it was. The prosecution argued he could very easily tell right from wrong, and not only were his actions premeditated, but he killed the two girls as well for fear of discovery. In the end, Kawasaki received the death penalty for his actions that day. He appealed numerous times, but on July 12, 2012, it was confirmed by the Supreme Court. His sentence was carried out on June 26, 2014. He was 68 years old. As for the media that harassed Kiyoshi, Mino Monta reportedly visited Kiyoshi and Sachiko in January 2008 with some producers to apologize in person. And while Hoshino returned to work after her forced break, she never really recovered and soon retired from the industry. As for Kiyoshi himself, he reportedly earned a Level 2 caregiver certification in 2010 and told reporters that he wanted to use that and his large vehicle license to drive a care taxi for the elderly residing in welfare facilities. Despite the beating he took from the media over his rough looks and harsh way of speaking, it appears he didn't let it keep him down and even moved into caring for others professionally. But what did you guys think of this one? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you again next time.